Just 20 years ago, your position was defined by your size. Being tall was pretty simple. You just had to grab rebounds over smaller defenders and dominate the post with spin moves and dunks. You were never asked to blow by your man with crafty handles or hit step-back threes as your opponent hopelessly extended in front of you to contest. However, recently, this has begun to change. As the speed of the game has continued to accelerate and the three-point shot becoming more and more significant, we've begun to see a totally new generation of versatile players. And amidst all these changes, one thing has stayed the same: the anomalies of talent that the NBA produces generation after generation. Wilt Chamberlain in the 70s, Kareem in the 80s, Jordan in the 90s, and LeBron James in the 2000s. But throughout the last 10 years, a particular anomaly has emerged. One that may prove to be the most talented player of all time. He's a 7-foot giant who can easily beat guards to the rim and knock down threes over high-flying centers like he's at a birthday party. Take a guess. KD. Nope, wrong KD. Not Keon. Just scratch that. Anyway, if you're still not convinced that KD is the most talented player ever, let's compare him to the greatest players to ever hit the hardwood. In this video, I'm going to prove why Kevin Durant is the most talented player ever, not the most skilled. That would belong to Michael Jordan. I want you to take a close look at this clip.
Pass up some good veterans on their bench. Pass all the way across, and Durant throws it.
Kevin Durant gets the ball on the wing off an inbound pass. Look at how LeBron moves to cover him. He has to frantically dive over trying to contest Kevin Durant's lethal three-point shot. Keep in mind, this man is 7 feet tall and shouldn't even be a threat further than 2 feet from the rim. Kevin Durant jabs and beats LeBron, taking one explosive step and slamming the ball down, appearing to hover above the rim before landing. This man has it all: handles, explosiveness, a lethal jump shot, and a vertical jump for the ages. Many attribute Kevin Durant's greatness to his size and wingspan, making claims like, being tall isn't really a skill. Skilled would be like Curry or Harden. KD is skilled, I agree, but put those skills on a 6'3" guy and he's going nowhere. This statement has some truth to it. However, the taller you are, the more difficult it is to develop crafty handles and a guard-like layup package. This is because the taller you are, the more time it takes for the ball to bounce on the ground and return to your hand. For the average person, that might not seem like much of a disadvantage, but at the NBA level, everything is very fast-paced, meaning that too much dribbling often leads to turnovers and steals, especially if the ball is not properly protected. The second point that many people ignore is shiftiness. The lighter you are, the easier it becomes to shift your weight and change direction quickly, which is extremely important for any efficient player. There are guys who are taller than KD but possess none of his abilities or skill sets, because it's not entirely about height and wingspan, it's about how the player utilizes them. KD is the youngest player in the history of the NBA to win a scoring title. At close to 7 feet, he holds a record that few guards have ever held. Just to further illustrate KD's dominance, let's compare him to other players of similar height and number of seasons in the NBA. Marc Gasol, drafted in the same year as KD with virtually the same height and wingspan. For the sake of consistency, let's compare their career and playoff stats. This includes every single game they ever played over the course of their NBA career. In terms of offense, through 868 games, KD has averaged 27.1 points per game, as well as 4.1 assists and 7.1 rebounds. In terms of shooting percentage, KD averages an astonishing true shooting percentage of 61.4%, which is a measure of shooting efficiency that takes into account field goals, three-point shots, and free throws. To put KD's true shooting percentage in context, the GOAT himself, Michael Jordan, had a career true shooting percentage of 56.9%, 4% lower than Kevin Durant. On the defensive side of the court, KD averages 1.1 blocks and steals a game, while Marc Gasol averages 0.9 steals and 1.4 blocks a game. These numbers prove that KD is much more efficient and potent on the offensive end compared to other players with similar attributes, while maintaining decent numbers on the defensive side of the court. You may pose the argument that the regular season is less important and therefore easier to perform in. Here are KD's stats versus Marc Gasol in the playoffs. The margins increase even more, with KD averaging an absurd 29 points per game, as well as just under 8 rebounds and 4 assists. His true shooting percentage decreases by about 2% from the regular season, which is expected because his usage rate as well as the amount of shots he takes increases. With that being said, a true shooting percentage of 59.7% is still extremely efficient, about 3% higher than Jordan's true shooting playoff percentage at 56.8%. Gasol's playoff totals are very consistent with his regular season stats: 13.9 points per game, 7.7 rebounds per game, and 3.3 assists, with a true shooting percentage of 53.3%. From this comparison, it's easy to say that KD is significantly more talented than the average NBA player of the same height and wingspan, but that's expected, considering his Hall of Fame resume. Kevin Durant is one of 2 players in NBA history to average over 25 points per game and still maintain a true shooting percentage of at least 60%, proving his efficiency as well as his elite scoring abilities. So how does he match up against other all-time great players? For this comparison, we'll break down offense and advanced stats, like usage rate and true shooting percentage, comparing both career and playoff averages. These are his regular season stats when compared to arguably the greatest scorer in NBA history, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. As seen by this chart, on his career, Kareem averages 24.6 points per game, compared to Durant's 27.1 points per game. In the rebounding department, Kareem was one of a kind, averaging 4 more rebounds a game than Kevin Durant. But to really judge their efficiency and ability to produce when leading a team offensively, let's compare their true shooting percentages and usage rates. Although Kevin Durant has a usage rate of 30.2%, or 6% more than Kareem, KD's true shooting percentage is still 2% higher than Kareem's 59.2%. In the playoffs, Kareem's offensive totals don't change too much. The point margin increases by 2 points, with KD averaging 29.1 points per game, compared to his 27.1 points in the regular season. In the assist department, KD averages just 0.8 assists more than Kareem. Abdul-Jabbar averages just over 3 rebounds more than KD, with a total of 10.5 rebounds a game. KD has proven his offensive superiority and skill set time and time again, holding the second longest playoff series streak with 25 plus points per game. Chamberlain may have had the greatest vertical in NBA history. Kobe may have had the most relentless work ethic. Jordan may have GOAT status, and LeBron James may have longevity and stamina. But if you consider the entire package, handles, size, playmaking, shooting, defending, agility, and basketball IQ, it's clear that KD is the most talented player in the history of the NBA.
Jordan was 6'6". Kobe Bryant was 6'7", 6'6". So when you're watching these guys, even LeBron James at 6'9", but Kevin Durant is a full, 3-4 inches taller than all of these guys with that length. He is the most unguardable human that's ever been created from an offensive standpoint. Can shoot, can dribble, can pass, can drive, can do everything. And
thanks for watching. And as always, until next time.